Good afternoon, and happy Trafalgar Day, I think it is, and also happy birthday to Lord Sedwell, I believe. It is also two great momentous occasions, slightly far apart, not at the same time, but thank you. And thank you for welcoming me back to the Queen Elizabeth carrier today of all days. As you're all aware, this forum takes its inspiration from a meeting that took place almost 8 decades ago on board another great warship. In 1941, in the midst of world turmoil, President Roosevelt and Prime Minister Churchill met on HMS Prince of Wales to agree a new transatlantic agreement. The Atlantic Charter that emerged would reshape the post-world order. We know China is growing the largest maritime surface and subsurface fleets in the world. And our competitors continue to challenge us in the grey zone between war and peace, and especially in the cyber and space domains. Meanwhile, climate change is creating a new set of problems, opening up maritime routes at the top of the world, halving the transit times between Europe and Asia, and increasing our vulnerabilities. Responding to these interlocking international threats requires an integrated response, militarily, economically, and ideologically. But it also requires global partnership, because the truth is, none of us alone can assure mass and persistence. But we do have each other. As the great guarantor of our Western democratic values of liberty, justice, and tolerance, the United States has long shouldered the burden of our collective security. But in an ever more complex world, the more the United Kingdom can do to help shoulder that responsibility, leading on European security and helping the US face challenges on several fronts, the better it will be for all of us. My message to you here today on this 65,000-ton ship, the most powerful surface vessel ever built in Britain, is that the UK is ready and able to share the burden in NATO and right across the world. We've proved the point recently through our participation in exercise Joint Warrior, NATO's largest annual exercise. On board, we were able to not just accommodate, but fully integrate 2 squadrons of F-35B jets, the RAF's 617 Squadron, otherwise known as the Dam Busters, and the US Marines VMFA 211, better known as the Wake Island Avengers. This was the largest concentration of fighter jets to operate at sea from a Royal Navy carrier since the days of HMS Hermes. It illustrates the strength of partnership, which is about more than historic ties, but about operating together, training together, working together, day in, day out, as a team. It is a reminder, too, that the UK's commitment to continental security will continue even after we leave the European Union. And that's something we're demonstrating through our determination to remain a leader in NATO. Not just spending above 2% of GDP, not just making the largest single commitment to the Readiness Initiative, but helping to drive the modernization of an organization that under US leadership has kept us safe for more than 70 years. Let us be clear. The benefits and institutions of multilateralism, to which we became so accustomed, are an extension, not an alternative, for our leadership and our hard power. The alliance remains our best means of countering an increasingly aggressive Russia and our greatest hope of tackling future threats. But in a changing world, NATO must continue to adapt. We've had good recent success in getting the alliance to adapt to hybrid and cyber threats. But we must now press on, recognizing the potency of our adversaries and the game-changing way they are employing new technologies to attempt to gain competitive advantage. At the same time, while the United States will always be the indispensable actor in our alliance, we must keep up the pressure on our allies to continue to increase the level and relevance of their defense investments, taking charge of some of their own security. Nor are we limiting our vision to Europe. Our adversaries are acting on a global scale, not just, for example, threatening freedom of navigation in the Atlantic or South China Sea, but also challenging our international system and the values that underpin them. It's no coincidence that over the past few years, we've seen global declines in political rights and civil liberties. So the UK is going to be more present, more forward, more deployed, and more active. We're going to adapt to a campaigning approach to the way we do our business around the world, building resilience with our friends and allies, and making better use of our global footprint to ensure that in every domain, whether through defence engagement, training, assisting, and when required, fighting, we're using all our resources to push back against our adversaries. One of our newest resources are the carriers, which give us a unique global capability. Some people foolishly describe these huge capital ships as floating airfields. They are so much more than that. They are floating ISR umbrella, a convener of allies, a logistical hub, a listening post, a lily pad, and a symbol of military presence and commitment. Nor must it be forgotten that they are also the flagships of a hugely formidable future fleet. A fleet that will include not just Type 31 frigates, but Type 26 global combat ships. We've already taken major strides with Type 26, whose designs have won plaudits in Canada and Australia. But today I can announce further progress with the signing of a memorandum of understanding with Australia that reinforces our commitment to delivering these cutting-edge anti-submarine frigates. It will see Australia and the UK engaging information, exchanging information, and best practice, while we're also working together to create jobs and support the growth of our industries, as well as strengthening of our collective defence. And it's about time, because it's an era of constant competition, a global Britain has no choice but to step up. The world does not stop for our reviews. Our adversaries will not halt the absence of our strategies, and the UK's defence can never be paused in the face of financial uncertainty. We should be signalling to the world that Britain is self-confident, proactive, problem-solving, and burden-sharing, ready to take on the challenges that shape the opportunities of the 2020s, alongside our allies and friends. In an imperfect, anxious, and tangled world, we must continue championing those shared values of liberty, justice, and tolerance that have given billions of souls around the world the chance of a better life. Values that inspired Roosevelt and Churchill to victory all those years ago. As Churchill himself said, "The future is unknowable, but the past should give us hope." Thank you very much.